What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So today's video, we'll be talking about the power of being alone. So the reason why this video got brought up is because I remember a time when I hated being alone. And I remember being around people that would say the same thing. I don't want to be alone. I have to be around people. I need to be distracted all the time. It's something I'd hear a lot. I had to be distracted. I need to keep my mind busy. I couldn't actually be alone without having to distract myself or be engaged in something constantly. So why do we do this? Why do we hate to be alone sometimes? You know, now in this point in my life, like I said, I used to hate being alone. Now I discovered being alone has a lot of power to it. It has a lot of insight. It has a lot of benefit and purpose to being alone. There's a lot that can come about from being alone. So I wrote a few things up and I want to share with you guys what can you gain from being alone. So the first thing is you're being able to recharge. I had a conversation with a friend just a few days ago. She was feeling drained. She was like, you know, I'm never really alone. I need to be a home. I'm sort of a homebody, but I'm constantly going out. I'm constantly having to exert myself to past what I can give, and this leaves her drained, right? This leaves us drained when we spend too much time out and about and not rekindling a relationship with ourselves, just being one-on-one with yourself, right? So recharging is the first thing. Why do we want to recharge? So if sometimes we may feel that we're losing creativity, we're losing purpose in our life, we don't know what we want, we don't know who we are sometimes. That can be because you're not spending enough time with yourself. When you spend time with yourself, you start to learn who you are. You start to realize what are your strengths, your weaknesses, who you are, what you need to express yourself, what you need in order to be happy, right? Because if you're constantly being around people, listening to things, you know, it's constantly like society is always changing us. Society is always telling us who we can or cannot be, who we should be. You should do this, you should do that. And we lose who we are. So we get confused, we may feel down, or we may feel anxious or depressed because we don't know ourselves. We don't have this relationship and love for ourselves. You know, how can we give more to ourselves if we don't know what we're supposed to give, what we're supposed to do, how we're supposed to be, right? So society can make us forget. Society can kind of put a blindfold over who we are, and this comes from not being alone, not being with ourselves, because that's what's happening. And a lot of times people that say I hate being by myself, I hate being alone, maybe it's because the hate is being alone with their thoughts. They have to face who they are. They have to come face to face with who they're actually being. So when you're with other people, you can forget that. When you're with other people, you're allowed to put on a mask, and you're allowed to forget for a little bit. You're allowed to play a different character with the world, with society. But if we do that for too long, when it's time to actually be alone for the few minutes that we have, or a couple hours that we have at the end of the day, we may feel lost again. We may feel confused. And again, it all comes back to not having that time, that quality time with yourself, which is very crucial. It's very important to our development, to how we want to proceed in life, where we want to go in life, and it all comes from not being alone. So it's a lot of power in being alone. I just covered the majority of it, but a next thing is, you know, being okay with yourself, being okay within. Again, you're getting to know who you are inside. You're getting to know what is it that you like, what is it you don't like, how to express yourself, you know, without the influences of other people judging you, the influence of telling you that you should be one way or should be another. We can get lost and we feel unhappy when we're not being in touch with ourselves, when we listen to other people's thoughts, opinions, their experiences. So we're recharging your energy, finding out who you are, what you need to be in order to express yourself, and express yourself with other people. That way you can find the right kind of people to enter your life. Because if you're playing a different character for too long and you get so accustomed and used to that character, yet feel depressed when you're actually with yourself, then people start to see your character and start to treat that character as such, and then you may feel still avoid. You still may feel secluded. You may feel like you don't fit in. It's because you haven't been playing your true self. You haven't been playing who you really are to the outside world. You're playing a different character, you see. And we do this when we don't spend enough time with ourselves, when we don't know who it is that we are. We haven't spent that time that we need to have being alone. So you get to know who you are, which is probably the biggest thing. You get to know who you are, and from there you can now know who you need to be outside in the world, which all comes back to just being yourself. And the last thing, the answers come within when you're not distracted. Very simple. A lot of people in the world can become lost. A lot of people in the world can become confused, not know where they want to go in life, and they don't know where to proceed. They may feel stuck in cycles, and this can happen until their 30s, 40s, have crises. And to avoid this is know what it is that you want and take action and move forward in that place. Because when you start taking action from your heart, when you start taking action from who you are, now you create the life that you want, because it's coming from within. It's coming from who you are, who you want to be, who you want to have control of your life. So yeah, I appreciate you guys watching. This video is really for those who maybe struggle with being alone and they need some sort of insight, new perspective, that I wanted to share my experience, and people that I've spoken to that they have not wanted to, they do not enjoy to be alone, and I have been there myself. So don't be afraid to be alone. Get to know yourself. Get to know what your fears are and how you can address them. You can work on them if you need to. Have more love and compassion for yourself always is key, and gain power in being alone.